Alrighty, so we're here for one reason and one reason only, chat, and that is to rank J. Cole, Drake, and Kendrick Lamar, aka the big three, from worst to best. And I know a lot of people are going to disagree with my take. A lot of people are going to feel some type of way. I just want y'all to know I'm a huge fan of all three. I love J. Cole, I love Drake, I love Kendrick Lamar, all as artists. But I do feel like there is a correct ranking when it comes to who's the worst, who's in the middle, and who is the best. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And if I'm being honest, I feel like Rod Wave really is going to be in that big three soon. But we're not even going to talk about that. Rod Wave will get there whenever he gets there. I'll spare y'all that. But yeah, I mean, everybody knows who the big three is. Even before all this big three talk, we've basically all known who the big three was for years now. We've known it was Cole, Drake, and Kendrick. They've been the most consistent. They've been the most lyrical while still maintaining their commercial success, mainstream success, all of that, all of the hoorah, rah, rah. But ever since Kendrick dissed J. Cole and Drake. He didn't really diss J. Cole. It was more aimed at Drake. But J. Cole got involved. Kendrick, word for word, said, fuck the big three. It's just big me. And now all this talk about Drake and Kendrick Lamar having rap beef. J. Cole dropped a diss track on Kendrick Lamar where he called some classic Kendrick Lamar albums ass and said that niggas was gassing it. It was putting people to sleep. All of that different stuff came out. And then J. Cole actually came out and apologized and said he apologizes for putting this diss out on Kendrick and he loves Kendrick. Kendrick, one of the best ever. Crazy shit, bro. A lot of people have been holding that against J. Cole. Like, bro, what the fuck are you doing apologizing? Like, it's rap beef. But J. Cole felt some type of way. He said he wasn't getting sleep because he dissed Kendrick. He felt bad about dissing Kendrick. And so it's just been all of this nonsense. That just brings me to say everybody's been talking about the big three. Everybody's been talking about who's the best out of the big three, who's the worst, all of that. And that's what I'm here to do right now. So we are about to rank the big three, starting from worst and going to who I believe is the best. And yeah, let's get into it. All right, so the worst out of the big three. We got Kendrick Lamar, we got Drake, and we got J. Cole. Who is the worst out of the big three? When I say worst, I don't want people to take this in the wrong manner as me saying that they're bad. I just think that when we're ranking the big three based off of success, artistic ability, and rapping ability, bars, everything, all of the above, this is the way that I would rank these three artists. I think they're all fantastic. I think they're three of probably the greatest of all time. Let me get that off my chest. This is just my opinion. If you agree with it, you agree with it. If you don't, you don't. But let's get into it for real. In third place, I have to go with J. Cole. Now, J. Cole, he has probably had the least amount of commercial success out of Kendrick and Drake and himself. He's had the least amount of commercial success. That's not to say he hasn't had extreme commercial success. 2014 Forest Hills Drive was an absolute banger. Born Center, the Offseason did well. For Your Eyes Only did well. He had all of his albums did well. But when you look at it compared to Drake and Kendrick, they don't really, I'm not going to say they don't stack up, but they are on a little bit of a lower tier. I feel like when it comes to rapping ability, J. Cole is the second best out of Drake and Kendrick, but I'm not basing everything off of rapping ability. But when it does come to commercial success and all this other stuff, I do feel like Cole is like the little brother when it comes to Drake, when it comes to Kendrick. I feel like he's always been chasing them. Obviously, anybody with a head on their shoulders is going to know that J. Cole is not as big commercially as Drake. Almost nobody's as big commercially as Drake, except maybe Taylor Swift and The Weeknd. Those might be the only two artists in the world who are bigger than Drake. But that is to say, a lot of people think that J. Cole is bigger commercially than Kendrick. I find that to be completely false as well. I think J. Cole is just, I think he's more the little bro when it comes to the big three. I think he does come in last place. Not to say he's not talented, like I said, but that's just the way I feel about J. Cole. I feel like he's artistically, I think artistically he's second as well. But if we're going to go to second place out of the big three, I'm going to go Drake, okay? And I know a lot of people are not going to like this. That's cool. I really just don't give a fuck. I have Drake in second place behind Kendrick, and let me tell you why. Obviously, I feel like Drake. I don't feel like Drake. I know Drake is a fact. that he is the most commercially successful. He sold the most records. He has the most followers, the most monthly listeners, all of this rada. Drake is Drake. He's huge. Like, he's one of the big, he's number 5 in the world for monthly listeners. 81 million monthly listeners. Like, almost nobody in the rap game can compare to it. It's actually ridiculous. But when we're talking about from a rapping standpoint and from an album standpoint, I think that Drake's best work is long in the past. I don't think Drake has put out any of his best work since 2017. I'm not gonna lie. Ever since More Life came out, I don't think he's had an album that was better than More Life. I don't think Her Loss was better. I don't think Scorpion was better. CLB is growing on me, but I still don't think it's better than More Life. I don't think For All the Dogs is as good as it's made out to be, and that's not to say that I dislike these albums. Drake is my 3rd favorite artist of all time behind Rod Wave and Kendrick. But when I look at his catalog, I think that ever since 2017, it's really just kind of gone downhill ever since then. Like, as I look at the singles, I'm not worried about the singles. The singles have been good, but as I look at these albums, Honestly Nevermind as well, they're not the classic Drake. They're not. It's more, Drake has turned more into a lifestyle rapper where he raps about money, girls, fame, success, cars, and all of that type of stuff. And he's kind of gotten away from giving us the bars that he used to give us on tracks on Nothing Was the Same, on 0 to 100, If You're Reading This Is Too Late, Take Care, like on OMDB, on these albums where he was barring up, Thank Me Later. I feel like if we're being honest, Drake hasn't put out an elite album since 2017, and that matters. Consistency matters. Now, if you want to talk about consistency, obviously Drake is dropping more consistently than Kendrick, but that doesn't mean that his work is more consistent. And it's easier to be consistent, obviously, when you drop less. You're going to have less room for error, but that is the risk you take, I feel like, when you drop as much as Drake. And, it's a good thing. I respect Drake a lot for dropping as often as he does. But at the same time, if the quality of the work is just not to where it used to be or where we want it to be, where we need it to be, take some time off, give us some fire, give us some heat. This was pretty good. For All the Dogs Deluxe was pretty good. Scary Hours 3, I believe is what it was pretty good. But for the last, I don't know how many years, since I said 2017, how many years is that? Almost 7 years now? I don't feel like Drake has been extremely Drake-ish, if that makes sense. I don't feel like Drake has been Drake-ish. He's changed. He's not the Drake he used to be. I don't know if he'll ever go back to being the Drake that he used to be, and that's just the way it is. I do have Kendrick as the best out of the big 3. Let me explain why simply, okay? Ever since 2011, basically, we'll count Section 80 as his first album. So ever since 2011, that was 13 years ago, if my math is right, 13 years. He's dropped Section 80 is 1, Good Kid, Mad City is 2, To Pimp is 3, Untitled is 4, Damn is 5, and Mr. Morale is 6. And I'm not even going to count the Black Panther album. That don't even really count. So we'll say he has 6 albums in the last 13 years. That's almost averaging an album once every little bit more than 2 years. That's not that bad. Averaging one album every 2 years is not that bad if you really want quality, high-end work. And when you look at all of these albums right here, Damn, amazing. Mr. Morale, a lot of people don't like it because it wasn't commercially sound ear candy, if that makes sense. It wasn't the most ear candy, pop-ish album that we've gotten from Kendrick, but if you really listen to it, it was a fantastic album. Amazing. To Pimp is considered one of the best in history, if not the best. Good Kid, Mad City, we all know how good it is. Section 80, we know how good it is. Untitled is literally To Pimp a Butterfly throwaways, so it has to be good if To Pimp a Butterfly is one of the best albums ever. Kendrick has never missed on an album. And if I'm being quite frank, I don't think Kendrick has an album that's under an 8 out of 10. I think that's how consistent that Kendrick has been. I think Kendrick is When it comes to rapping, I think that he is the best out of all of them. I don't think Cole is that far behind Kendrick when we're talking about rapping ability, but when we're also talking about the message behind the music and relating it to real life events, I think Kendrick is the best. I think Kendrick is the best artistically. I think his visions that he has artistically are absolutely amazing. And, you know, he's as successful as he is, 60 million monthly listeners, and he's not even in the limelight. He doesn't tweet. He doesn't post on Instagram. We don't hear anything from Kendrick Lamar. And one verse on a song with Future, after not posting, not promoting, nothing, no music videos, no IG posts, no tweets, nothing. After disappearing from the earth, we don't know what he's doing. One verse shook up the whole entire rap world. It shook up the whole hip hop scene. One verse from Kendrick did that. And that's really why I think that he's the best. I think that everybody recognizes how important Kendrick is to hip hop and how much influence he's had on hip hop and the weight that his words and that his music carries. And that's just why I think that Kendrick is number one, though, based off of those reasons. But like I said, I really wouldn't be mad if you have them in any order. I would be mad if you have Kendrick in last place. I'm gonna feel like you don't know what you're talking about. But yeah, I got Kendrick in first, Drake in second, J. Cole in third, basically the order that you see on the screen. And yeah, but let me know what y'all think about this big three, about this beef, this rankings, all of that, because they're saying that Drake is supposed to drop a diss soon. Joe Budden said it's gonna be nuclear. He said that J. Cole apologized basically because shit's gonna get real, and they don't want J. Cole to get caught in the middle of it because, like I said, J. Cole's kind of little bro. But yeah. That's my ranking on the big three. Those are my reasons. I'm a big fan of all of them, though. I can't really be mad at any ranking that you have realistically. But yeah, make sure y'all subscribe. Make sure y'all follow me on TikTok, Instagram, everything at BeastKoby for more content. Let me know what y'all want to see. I'm gonna start streaming. I'm gonna start dropping more YouTube videos. So yeah, let me know what y'all want to see, and I appreciate y'all watching, bro. Peace.